Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesdays with Harbinder Narula. Today, my guest on the show is a gentleman who's marrying wellness with the most modern technology. My guest today is Sajeev Nair, who's a business leader in diverse walks of life. He's a serial entrepreneur, he's an inventor, he's authored 5 books, he's a corporate consultant, and he considers himself as a biohacker, someone who's evangelizing the concept of wellness, marrying it with the most modern technology of blockchain. Sajeev Nair is the founder and chairman of the innovative health tech startup called WeRoots, and he's also running a corporate consulting firm called Brahma Learning Solutions, and also has founded first blockchain-based healthcare metaverses in the world, and he calls it Limoverse. So welcome, Sajeev, to BW Healthcare and BW Wellbeing. You are a serial entrepreneur. So my first question to you is, how did you move from being a trainer and a performance coach to making products for well-being and now wellness ecosystem based on blockchain? What's been your journey?
All right. I think you have narrated it well, the entire journey. I started my career, or I started my entrepreneurial journey after being in the corporate for a few years. I worked with some great companies in India in pharma and also in media and also advertising. So with that kind of background, when I got into business, I would rather say my first attempt in entrepreneurship was in direct selling. And that's where I came across something called the wellness, because way back in 2000, that point of time, this was a new word, not much of discussed about. People had only one concept. Whenever they think about health, they were only thinking about disease. Or whenever the only person who could talk anything about health was doctor. So that was the time when I came across the concept of wellness, nutraceuticals. I started the journey into the wellness by selling nutraceuticals, so nutritional supplements. That is my first, stepping into the wellness. But later on, I realized that it's not just selling nutrition supplements. That wellness has to be a total, it has to be treated as one. And where supplements can play a role if it is required. Otherwise, also, there are so many other mechanisms. So that is how I moved from just selling supplements into starting wellness clinic, into moving into the next phases. Now, going back once again into my starting point, where I started my entrepreneurial journey, as I was, my first venture was in direct selling. I had to do a lot of training programs. I had to motivate a lot of people. So though I was, by nature, I was an introvert, I was a shy person, but I had no other option but to go out and talk to people, because in direct selling, you have to talk to people. And after some time, you have to talk to a group of people. And after that, you need to train people to, make them, trainers. And the process continued. And in the process, I evolved as a trainer, I would rather say. It was I never planned in my life that I should become a motivation speaker or a trainer or a coach or anything. Never, ever. Of course, entrepreneurship was there in my dreams, but being a speaker was not there. So it just happened in my life by default. Now, but some or other, I think it clicked, people started accepting what I used to train. And there has been some kind of life-changing transformations in people's lives and some organizations. So I continued my journey, and I still continue that as a passion, mainly as a passion. Just by being a motivational speaker, I found that that's not giving me that kind of impact, because people generally, after attending any of those training programs, they reach certain levels and they maintain that level for a week or two. After that, they come back to the normal life, and then the normal life hits them hard. Then it's a normal life for them. So I thought that is not what is actually required. How can I make permanent, sustainable transformations? That's where in 2006 to 8 period, I went into a research, which is the subject of the research was thought process reengineering, based on some of the fundamentals of neuroscience. Because I have got good connections with many medical practitioners in the wellness space. So they helped me to, and I became very curious about knowing more about the brain and how it functions. And it was quite an exciting journey. And finally, I came out with a complete research thesis called Thought Process Reengineering, which I translated into a workshop and kind of a retreat format. And I started doing that for entrepreneurs. And the same entrepreneurs asked me, how can you re-engineer our organization, not just our thoughts? Then I started a consulting firm, strategic consulting firm called Brahma, which I started in 2008 till now. We must have transformed close to about 600 plus companies, scaled them, helped them to scale up. So what I'm talking about is it was just a flow. It was not like I purposefully wanted to be a serial entrepreneur. In fact, I had passion to nature. I loved nature. I wanted to be in the nature. So that made me to start a nature resort long back in 2006 in Munnar, which is functioning well right now. It's a pure, no excavation, no concrete. It's in the middle of the jungle. So I would rather say it is not like a business for business sake. It was most of those businesses I got into were part of the journey I was having. It was coming to me in a natural flow. And now coming back to your question about wellness and the transformation which I went through in wellness. Yeah, started with nutritional supplement selling. Then I realized that I need to treat that in a holistic way. That is where we started some wellness clinics with the support of some doctors, medical practitioners. And 2005 was the year in which I had a chance to go through a genomic testing in the US. And I realized that was a great eye-opener because 2003 was the year in which the Human Genome Project was opened to the world. So 2005, I could do my testing. And that gave me a lot of information about my inherent science, like the DNA, the genes, what are the requirements for my genes? What are the possible and probable diseases? At that time, it was very primitive, though. But I had that in my back of my mind. I thought, yeah, this is something which is required because if I know about my body and my science, my biology, I can very well manage my health. That's what I understood. Instead of popping in a lot of nutrition supplements and instead of going to a gym and doing all the kinds of exercises, I would be able to identify what is suitable for me. So I've been in continuous search when we can and how we can do this in India. 2016-17 was the period in which I became more passionate about this field of human longevity and performance because I was nearing my 50s. So I thought, how can I perform much better at higher energy levels past my 50s? My own, I would rather say, selfish motive made me to take a deep dive into this subject of human longevity. And almost 1 to 2 years, I could connect with many people in the modern science and also in Ayurveda, yoga experts, a lot of unbelievable information, which I compiled together and made it as a book, The Making of the Superhuman. That's a book which got published. That was my 5th book, by the way. And ultimately, when I wrote the book, I realized that it's not enough because people need solutions. People need quick fixes. They don't need GAN. So that made me to think about an organization and enterprise where I can provide these concepts which I have been talking about in the making of a superhuman, which we call it as a biohacking concepts. How can you hack your own biology? And that made me, when you think about hacking, the first thing what comes in your mind is definitely code, whatever it is. You need to get the code. So for human being, the code is, there are 2 codes. One is the genetic and the second is a metabolic, that is your present health condition. So I understood the importance of I need to know the code. So that made me to get into the subject of genomics again and how I can decode the information from the DNA and translate that into a proper way by which people can actually hack their own body, their own biology, and also their own psychology. And we came out with a program called EPLIMO, Epigenetic Lifestyle Modification. And then we realized that to implement that, they need some tools like supplements or other wellness tools. So we started coming out with those tools. And that is how we formed this company, vRoots, in 2020. And we are having this journey. So it has been a continuous evolution if you seriously look at it. And always, the objective has been the same, that is empowering people to take charge of their own health and well-being so that they can perform at their peak levels throughout their life.
So Sajeev, you very beautifully mentioned that you took on this journey because of a selfish motive to understand yourself, your body, so that you could take care of it better. And you said that the motivation was to move to a better performance of your body, right? Now, you also use the term healthcare and well-being, which means these two are separate. What comes to my mind is that when we think of healthcare, it is more about sick care. When somebody is unwell, somebody is ill, that is when you move towards healthcare. But wellness can include bettering yourself. Now, if you look at the well-being market, we had it evolve from organic products, and then we started seeing people understanding the immunity, and then we had the immunity teas, yoga, meditation. In your opinion, what does well-being encompass?
Harbinder, I think you are on the dot, because even though we call it as healthcare, I would like to quote Paul Zane-Pilzer, who is the first ever well-known author in the space of wellness. He brought out this book, Wellness Revolution, which he wrote that healthcare is a misnomer. It has to be renamed as sickness industry. So because all those, whoever is connected with that industry, whether it is hospital, doctor, the X-ray centers, scan centers, labs, pharma, they're all dealing with sickness, not with health. A customer, from an economic point of view, if you look at it, a customer approaches them only when they are sick. Okay. So it is not by choice. You have no other option but to go to that place. And that's where I also got a very intriguing thought, that imagine in any country for that matter, healthcare industry contributes at least 1 or 2 position in terms of towards the GDP of that country. Generally, if you look at it, it's food industry and the healthcare industry. These are the 1 or 2 in any of the national GDP contributors to the national GDPs. Now, and interestingly, they complement very well, because if the food industry performs bad, the healthcare industry goes good. This always complement. And actually, it is a defects in the food industry makes the healthcare industry to grow. Now, I thought, and imagine that healthcare industry, people go to that industry even though they don't like to go. A customer is going to an industry or approaching an industry without his own willingness. And I have been thinking that had there been another industry where customers would go with happiness, that industry should be the #1 industry in the world. And that's exactly what I consider as a wellness industry. So where people, everybody wants to stay healthy and fit, but they are sick and tired of all these kinds of different advices. Do this, do that, go for keto diet, go for paleo diet, go and try this yoga. And unfortunately, for some people it works. For some people, it never works. Because one man's food is another man's poison. This is what written long back. So a specific fitness regimen, which is good for somebody, can actually damage somebody else, which you are seeing right now every day. On the gym floor, people are dying. So had fitness or exercises been the right, final formula for health, why should people die in their 40s on the gym floor? So that very clearly shows that it is not fit for all. Then people go, they want to reduce their weight, recommended with keto diet. Some people get the result, some people get their kidney damaged. Now, the moment we move closer to genomics, we understand the science, we understand the secret. There are genes in your body which are responsible for fat metabolism. If those genes are impaired, and if you go for a heavy diet or high fat diet, damage is sure for your body. Okay. So same way, when we look at our genomic profile, what we do through our EPLIMO process, we can see a factor called QT. QT interval is kind of a heartbeat interval, you can say. So this interval, QT interval, varies from 1 to 1. In my case, it may be different from that of yours. But the people who are having a prolonged QT, that's not a disease, by the way, it's only a genetic condition. Prolonged QT, If they go for high intensity interval training, you'll have to wait what will happen with them. So what I'm talking about is the definition of well-being is completely getting changed. It is good that the last 20 years, especially a country like India, people have become very, very health conscious. I'm sure that that's why people like you have started this venture, because that's the way things, your talk shows, the wellness days, all those shows that how much of progressive and positive movement is happening in the space. At the same time, if you look at it, people are going to the gym, but they should realize that when you are leading a normal life, it's okay. That is what I always say. If you're getting into a wellness program, better you be careful. You should really know, because when I used to sell nutrition supplements long back, many doctors used to tell us that, no, you are not doing the right thing. It is not that everybody require all the vitamins. That time we thought doctors are against, doctors are just talking against us. Now, once you understand the science, you realize that, okay, when doctor prescribes a medicine, he has done some diagnosis, and after that he's prescribing a medicine. But when you are taking into a wellness program, whether it is a exercise regimen or a supplement or whatever it is, have you done any diagnosis for that? Do you really know that that is what is required for you? Is cardio exercise good for you or bad for you? So there is mechanism right now. There is science available to do that. So now I think wellness, the awareness is good. The consciousness is good. Now well-being is getting into the next phase where it's becoming highly personalized. And people have to realize that they need to personalize it.
No, I think this is a very beautiful point that you have mentioned, Sajeev, because we have always been told that each human being is unique. Each body is different. So if it is different, it must be treated differently. And not only when you are unwell, but also when you want to make a progress and start living better. So a very beautiful point. But when you look at well-being industry, how big is the market in terms of its size and opportunity in India?
I think the exact market figures you won't be able to find, because in India it is so difficult to find exact figures. Statistics is very difficult to get in this country. But because right now, earlier it was, if you could have added the Ayurveda industry, you could have added the nutrition supplement industry and the fitness industry. But right now, what I'm seeing is that the major contributors into the wellness industry, one of the major contributors is going to be health tech. Yesterday, I was discussing with a very, very interesting app. The founder, a startup, beautiful app, which is targeted towards mental well-being, Indian startup. So, it's actually giving a lot of different tips for, maintaining high level of mental well-being. They call it as mental fitness. So all put together, I'm not sure about the kinds of sizes we can talk about. The global figures, what they're talking about right now is that whatever is the healthcare industry size, what you talk about, which is close to about, I think about maybe $26 trillion. About 20% is what is globally contributed by the wellness industry. In 2019, I think if you look at the Deloitte's report, which is the future of health, which is the most comprehensive report I've ever seen, what they have talked about is that from right now, the preventive and the wellness is 20% of the entire healthcare industry, which will move to 60% by 2040, which is a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal information. And they have very clearly given a narrative how it's going to move. They have done a lot of research on that. I would rather appreciate anybody who is in the health and wellness space should read the report, because they have clearly spotted out 6 different factors which are going to drive this move from a reactionary mechanism to a proactive mechanism, which is the major factor. Are 2 things I would rather love to say. One is going to be the data. So we are getting a lot of data now, and there are so many mechanisms by which hell of a lot of data can be derived. What you're going to do with the data is the question now. So interoperability of the data is going to be one of the key factors which is going to drive this move from reactive to proactive, interoperability of the data. Now, that is what one of our ventures is doing right now. Another thing what is looking at is the behavioral change. Very, very important. I would rather say, as a person who has been practicing in wellness for the last 20 years and for the last 5 years, I'm more focused on biohacking. I can tell you the toughest thing is to stay put in a program. Whether it is a fitness program, whether it is a diet plan, it is being there. That's the most important thing. That's why if you check with any fitness centers, you can see that they all say that January 1st, they have a huge number of membership. And after 14th onwards, the numbers start dropping and it ends up with about 20-30% renewals. Why? Behavioral change. So, because when you are sick, you will take decisions for your body. But when you are healthy, you think you are healthy. You don't know what to do, whom to consult, who can actually tell me whether I'm healthy or not. So behavioral changes is one thing very, very significant. So there are lots of programs right now coming out in the world where people are going to be rewarded for, making those behavioral changes and to stay healthy. And that is something going to make a big difference in the entire world. I would rather say, if you look at the industry, it will be very, very difficult to define in terms of numbers, because all these are actually now coming into this industry, including even the mind power trainings I should add into the wellness industry, because that is also adding value to that.
You're absolutely right. I think, in the first answer itself, you had mentioned that, healthcare is when you are unwell and you are forced to go to a practitioner unwillingly, and wellness is when you are going willingly.
Yes.
So we are moving from a reactionary to a proactive approach towards, wellness. And second thing, I think, what you touched upon is people are usually in denial that, they are, because they are well, so they don't, because they can't envision that what could be going inside their body. So they are in denial that sab kuch theek hai. So my next question to you is, how do you think technology is reshaping the wellness and well-being industry?
I think technology is going to create the major move, the move which I said from a reactionary to proactive, where technology is going to play the major role. Because the only one way I can maintain good health is if I know what's going on in my body. The food I'm eating, is it getting properly digested? Are the nutrients are getting metabolized and it's getting absorbed in my body properly? Am I taking the right kind of food? Many people suffer from autoimmune disease and they end up consuming some of those immunosuppressant steroids, because there is no medicine for it. And nobody can figure out why this autoimmune disease, where your immunity itself is working against you, why it's happening to you. And the answer lies in your gut most of the time. Most people don't know about it. And we have seen that happening when people go through the EPLIMO process. We identify some people, they have some autoimmune disease, and we can actually figure it out with certain conditions with their gut. And that is being caused by either lactose intolerance. And most of the people have got a misinterpretation that lactose intolerance, if I have lactose intolerance, when I take any dairy products, I may get some allergy or vomiting sensation or headache. That's what people think. That those are some manifestations. What we have seen is that when we make people go through the genomic analysis, what we found is that almost 60% of the people who are having lactose intolerance, they have no symptoms. They don't even know that they have lactose intolerance. So if you have a symptom like nausea, vomiting, headache, when you take any dairy products, you will at least, decide that I won't touch this now, or doctor will tell them don't touch. But if you don't have any symptoms, then what will happen? So here, what we are seeing is that in those cases, most of the cases, there is some level of autoimmune disease. That means it is affecting their gut lining, and the gut lining, there could be cracks. And through that, the entire process starts. Most of the autoimmune disease, if you check, it is your immunity is working against somebody, something inside your body, which even your immunity doesn't understand. Most of the time, it must have gone through the gut lining, cracks in the gut lining. which is caused by either gluten intolerance or a lactose intolerance. So the critical factor is now, without technology, you cannot identify all this. Okay, earlier, yes, of course, Ayurveda had great science in terms of the Vata, Pitta, Kapha analysis. But now you can go deeper into your DNA. You can identify exactly spot on. It is not just identifying the possible and probable diseases. More than that, it is correlating. That is where our services, the EPLIMO services, come in. We are not just doing a genetic analysis. We are not giving that. We are actually doing a lot of correlation using machine learning and artificial intelligence. So this can give a person a highly personalized lifestyle modification plan for a person. That's one side. So genomics is making a major advancement in terms of helping people to stay healthy. One. Two, artificial intelligence is providing actual accurate data based on previous data or the available data. They are creating, real intelligence, which can help people to take decisions on what to eat, what not to eat, what kind of food, what kind of exercise is suitable for me. That's two. Number three is the wearables. The wearables are playing a major role where you can actually, this is called, I call it as a quantified self tools. You can quantify yourself, in terms of many things, how many calories I have taken today, or how much calories I have burned today, how many steps I have taken today. So you're quantifying. These are called quantified self tools, and that is also technology's adoption. And third thing is, definitely with the help of blockchain technology, we can actually use all this data and come out with solutions which can make significant positive behavioral changes in people's life by rewarding people for healthy habits. And if I talk about technology, there are many things like right now, neurofeedback systems have come in where even you can change the frequency of your brain. Suppose if you want to change your mindset, you can actually, using neurofeedback systems, you can change the frequency of your brain. Using PEMF, which is a biohacking tool, you can induce sleep immediately. So there are so many methods by which technology can help a person to stay at a healthier and higher performing level.
You know what, Sajeev, you have used this word biohacking repeatedly. And so what exactly is biohacking, and how did you get into this? How did you start working on biohacking?
Biohacking is seems to be a very fancy word, but the same is nothing but it's taking charge of your own biology. Biology, when I say biology, I would rather add psychology also into it. Taking charge of your body and mind. So when you talk about taking charge, means you should know exactly what's going on in your cells. You should know exactly what's going on in your gut. You should know what's going on in your brain. And once you have that information, then you know exactly how to tune yourself. You know how to tune your laptop, how to tune your engine of your car, but you have no idea how to tune your body and your mind and your brain. Some days you wake up and say, I'm feeling dull today. Oh, who is feeling dull? You or your brain is having some problem? Maybe that your brain is not secreting the cortisol level to the extent what is required. Or is there a mechanism by which I can increase the cortisol level? Yes, you can. There are some tips which you can actually exercise. Certain levels of body movements can enhance your cortisol, shoot the cortisol level. Some say, I'm feeling so stressed today. Okay, you feel stressed or your brain is stressed? Okay, so is there a way by which I can do that? Yes, there are, see, people think the moment after this interview, people search biohacking, they will see a lot of fancy things like, inserting microchips and all those stuff. So those are Western style of biohacking, which generally come in the category called grinding, not biohacking. Actual biohacking is primarily you can take charge of it. I'm just giving you an example of stress. Now, we all know that, we have a stressful situation, and you have maybe that, think about a mother who is waiting for her daughter to come back after the school and getting delayed and no information. Mobile is not working. What's happening? She's totally stressed out and heartbeat is going up and all those kinds of stuff. And that point of time, she's getting a call from her friend saying, hey, by the way, I went to the school and I picked your daughter also. What is your automatic response? It is, oh. So it's a deep exhalation is an automatic response. So from where it came from? This is called parasympathetic nervous system getting activated. So whenever your parasympathetic nervous system getting activated, you exhale. Okay. We call it a sigh, deep sigh. That's a deep exhalation. Now, generally, you have to understand one thing, that every emotion is an action. You convert the action, you can change the action to get a desired emotion also. Now, so when you are getting a relaxing information, it's converted, the brain converts that to a deep sigh. That's an exhalation. So whenever you exhale, the brain will relax. It is simple science. So you are in a stressful situation, just take a few deep breath-ins and deep breath-outs. Okay. And the more you exhale, you can actually relax, because it's pure science, because your parasympathetic nervous system is getting activated whenever you are exhaling. Spiritual gurus have been talking about it, but we don't take it. But I am talking it from a science. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I would rather say biohacking is these kind of simple techniques, which we know, but we don't practice. Okay. But I can tell you the way I adopted this in my life. As I told you that, it was in 2017-18 period, I realized that I'm nearing my 50. So I need to be high performing, because I'm a peak performance coach also. I get on the stage and there'll be thousands of people, and I for 10 hours continuously I perform. So I cannot get my performance down anyway in front of these people. So I was looking at ways and means by which I can enhance my performance. That made me to get a deeper dive into it. And I started finding out some of the techniques, some of them definitely from the Western world, and some of them from our ancient Ayurveda, yoga. And main thing is that I experimented for last about 2-3 years. I experimented on many things, whether it is mixing curcumin with MCT oil, because curcumin capsules many people take, but most of the people have no idea curcumin the body doesn't absorb. It's a fact. So if curcumin has to be absorbed, it has to be with fat. Without that, it will not get absorbed, because it never penetrates your cell walls. So I understood it. Then what I did was I took curcumin powder. I put MCT oil. MCT oil is the third level derivative of coconut oil. Coconut oil, virgin coconut oil. MCT oil is the next level of. It's we call it as a pure medium chain triglycerides. So virgin coconut oil still has got long chain triglycerides. So this is a pure medium chain triglycerides, MCT oil. So I mixed it, heated it. I started taking it, and I could see the difference, because I was a sinusitis patient. Okay. And I used to take, I must have been one of the loyal customers for Combiflam for years together. So, so once I started taking this every day, I started getting the relief. I started seeing the results happening, because curcumin has got anti-inflammatory property. But unfortunately, nobody has taught people how to take curcumin into your cells. So that's a biohacking. Now in WeRoots, we brought it as a product. We brought curcumin and MCT oil mixed together, made it into emulsified powder, and actually, so this is what biohacking all. It's not rocket science. It's there all around, but unfortunately, we don't practice it.
Sometimes when you look at the old gurus, like you mentioned, they had this. They had evolved to a point where they could biohack and understand what they needed to do to be in control of this body, or this machine, as we call it. Sajeev, I understood biohacking. I understood that you've tried it on yourself. How did you turn this into a venture called WeRoots? What kind of products does the company focus on, and how is it impacting the mankind?
WeRoots, as the word say, we means life, and roots is roots of life. So WeRoots, as I told you in the beginning, it evolved. It was not like an venture. We just wanted to start a business. So this was providing solutions for people, help them to biohack, help them to personalize their health and well-being. So we started with the first product. What we have is a program called EPLIMO, that is epigenetic lifestyle modification, where people go through an genomic testing and also a metabolic assessment. and we do correlation of this to data and using machine learning and come out with a highly personalized lifestyle modification recommendation with the help of an artificial intelligence model, AI model. So, which gives you all the kinds of information like what food to eat, what vegetable suitable for you, what fruits can harm you, because people think that broccoli is very safe. And we have shown many examples of how broccoli can damage some people if it is not genetically suitable for them. Now, exercise the same way. In our genomic testing, we test genes, around 100 genes, which are responsible for sports. So we can exactly tell you for sports, one of the major challenges any of the teams facing is that the injury and also breakdown. So, from this kind of process, EPLIMO process, we would be able to tell people that what is the injury proneness for a person and also how fast it will take for recovery. So, and a lot of information you get. And now once you get this information using AI, how do you interpret it and create that lifestyle modification plan? That is where WeRoots has got the expertise. So we have done in the last 2 years, close to 6,000 plus people have gone through this process. And then to support them in terms of when it comes to nutrition related deficiencies, we have come out with some nutrition supplements. And also we are coming out with a few more bunch of products in that line. So we are more of a personalized health company, personalized wellness company, rather than a general broad wellness company, selling out so many supplements. Now we are very, very focused on this, but we understand that this was the need of the hour and people have accepted it because our target group is very focused. That is people who are health conscious. We just need to ask a few questions to people, those people who are going to the fitness programs. Have you really done some analysis before you joining for this kind of a program? Or are you just doing it just like that? It's your body, it's your heart. Be careful about it. So it has been a very clear-cut target group. And so the journey has been great. Right now, we are getting into the second phase of WeRoots, where we're going to come out with some experience centers all over India, and where people can walk in and talk to we have lifestyle coaches, we have a academy which brings out certified lifestyle coaches. We do this program in association with Indian Association for Functional Medicine. So we have actually graduated close to about 150 people, including doctors who actually also participate in this 2 months program. So they become advisors for this kind of lifestyle modification. So overall, if you look at it, this brand will be more to do with lifestyle modifications. So what we talk about is creating the best you. That's what we are talking about. So all this biohacking, wellness related concept has converged into this model in WeRoots.
So, Sajeev, there are many companies addressing this market. I'm talking about the wellness and well-being market. They're doing it in their own unique ways. How are you approaching the industry, and how is WeRoots different from other wellness companies? I know you touched a little bit, but if you can just elaborate and share, how are you different from everyone else?
Yeah, we are focused. That's the most important thing. We are not a general wellness company. We are very focused, and our mission is very clear-cut, written down mission we have, empowering people to take charge of their own health and well-being. That's the most important thing, so that they can live a long, healthy, productive life and perform at peak levels in all areas of their life. So performing at peak levels has been our key subject, okay? And for which the science, what we are using is any science which can help people to personalize their health and well-being, okay? Which could be genomic science, it could be epigenetic science. In future, it could be something else. So the science, the technology, the product may vary, but we still focus on the cause, the why factor, and there is a reason for it. You look at India. India is the youngest country in the world right now. You must be knowing the average age in India is around 30. So that means, you have, just like in 1970s in America, they used to talk about baby booming period, because in 1970s, the average age of America was around 28. So they knew that the next 25 years to 30 years is going to be the peak earning years for the maximum number of people. Exactly the same place we are in right now. Okay, because India's average is 30. That means the majority of the people in India would be, they are going to have their peak earning years for the next 20 to 25 years. Beyond politics and beyond anything else, I would rather say this is one factor which can make India a superpower in economics. Now, question is, what happens after 20 years? What happens after 30 years? Now you go back to Japan. Countries like Japan or any of the Southeast Asian markets, which has got a huge aging population or aged population. Their average life expectancy, the age at which people die, is crossing 90. And by 50, in their 50s itself, majority of the people are contracted with one or other lifestyle disease, and the government has to support their entire sickness. And the governments are bleeding because of that. Now, think about the situation in India, where after 20 or 30 years, these population, which is a major chunk of the population, where they're going to touch their 60s. And, imagine a situation where we can make them productive for another 20 years. That will make a huge difference in terms of the economic perspective of this country. That's what I would rather say any wellness company or wellness venture should be looking at. How I can, because living long is not a great thing right now, because India's average life expectancy was 69, right now it is 70, by 2025 it's going to be 75. But the question is that, are people living long or dying long? Okay, because of the advancement in medical science, you are contracted with a lifestyle disease at the age of 40, and your death is extended for another 20, 30 years. That's all. Now, how about, you think about yourself, Harbinder. You must have spent your first 25 years in your education, okay, and you learned. And after that, you started experiencing, through different jobs, and, you started learning and experiencing. So learning, experiencing. And by the age of 45, 50, that's the time you got it. Now you understood that this is what I'm good at. This is where I can make my contributions. And you have got the knowledge, you have got the experience. And by that time, if your health is gone, all the effort what we have put for the first 50 years is gone haywire. So I would rather say, the most important thing a country should be looking at is that, how can I make people at the age of 50 and above highly productive, highly energetic, and highly contributing, at least for the next 20, 25 years, so that the nation and the society is benefited. So what we are looking at is, we're very clearly focused on this point. That is why I said that we are personalized health. Why? That is why in our mission statement also we have written like this: empowering people to take charge of their own health and well-being, so that they can live a long, healthy, productive years, contributing their best to the society and the nation at large. So that's why I'm saying that we are very focused. That's the difference between a normal wellness company.
You have mentioned that you focus on peak performance, and I know that you also have an event called Rise Up that you do. How is it linked to biohacking, and what is it that you do in that event?
Yeah, I would rather say that, one of the reasons why I learned biohacking is because I wanted to continue doing Rise Ups for next at least a decade, because that's all about peak performance. And we are in biohacking. I'm teaching people about and making people practice about how somebody can attain high energy levels throughout their life, throughout the day, right from the morning till night. So for which some techniques are required. That's where the biohacking comes into play. So in Rise Up, many of the techniques what we are applying, of course, I'm applying many techniques connected to neuroscience. But right now, after learning a bit about biohacking, I apply a lot of biohacking techniques into Rise Up, so that once people come and attend Rise Up, it's definitely a full day of transformation, and they go back and they have steps to do. They have things, practical things to do in their life, by which they can see the transformations and the change in their energy levels.
Got it. And you also mentioned, Sajeev, something called EPLIMO. So I understand it's some kind of a genetic testing, but there are so many companies now doing genetic testing. How is EPLIMO different from what the genetic testing that we see normally?
Yeah, that's a good thing in India, which is happening is that many companies are coming forward with the consumer genomic testing because it's a very new thing for India. Even globally, it is a new thing. See, most of the brands, what is there in the market, most of the companies, what they're offering is a genetic testing or we call it a genomic testing, and a report and a recommendation and a counseling. What we are offering is that we are not offering a genomic testing. We are offering a program called personalized lifestyle modification plan. So this personalized lifestyle modification plan starts with the genomic testing. That's all. So we make you go through a genomic testing. It's a do-it-yourself. We just need about 2 ml of your saliva, and then from there the journey starts. Your DNA is decoded. That's being done by advanced genomic labs. And yes, we have the most detailed report. We have 250 reports we generate from your DNA. But I don't think any other company is doing that right now in India. Now, 250 different types of reports we generate from your DNA. But at the same time, what our expertise is that taking those data and correlating that data with your personal health conditions and coming out with a highly personalized lifestyle modification plan. And this lifestyle modification plan tells you, it is almost like an operating manual for the rest of your life. Okay. And also now we are adding more value into it by attaching you with a lifestyle coach who's going to handhold you to make sure that you're going to make behavioral changes, significant behavioral changes. So that's something which we have added recently. By anyone who goes through an EPLIMO program, their journey starts from EPLIMO, and there is a lifestyle coach attached to them, and they handhold you for a period of time so that you make those modifications in your life. It requires a lot of discipline. So you make those modifications in your life and experience your life in a completely different way. Now we're going to add one more thing into it. It's a reward program for making those modifications. So our EPLIMO is more of a lifestyle modification program rather than a genomic testing.
If I've understood correctly, it is that you're not in the business of genetic testing or genomics. That's just a precursor to what you need to do to lead a better life based on understanding your body, and genomics is just a process to help you do that.
That's right. Yeah, you got it right. You got it
awesome.
right. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Sajeev, do you think that this kind of a personalization and using technology to keep diseases that you may be predisposed to because of your genetics can really protect you from diseases and help people not only live longer, but healthier through this program?
Yeah, that's what our objective is. But if you ask me that from a genomic or genetic data alone, you get that information that these are the kinds of diseases for which you have a higher risk. And by taking one, two, three steps, you can actually prevent this. That'll be an overstatement. This is actually helping you to know much better and deeper about why some of the things are happening in your body, why some of the things are going haywire in your health. And then you have to correlate that with the present health data, your present lifestyle. And then we come out with the lifestyle modification plan. Maybe the lifestyle modification plan is something when you implement on a regular basis. That's why when you look at, I'll just give you an example to make it simple. See, I personally have got a higher risk for heart disease, because for which I don't really require to do a genetic testing, because my father died because of heart attack. My grandfather died because of heart attack. So I definitely carry the genes responsible for it. So for that, I don't require to go for a genetic testing. But when I did my EPLIMO, I found that yes, this is there. High risk for almost 3 different types of heart disease I carry. Now, in which way it's going to help me just by knowing about it? People may become panicked by knowing about it. That is where our EPLIMO comes stand different. Now, what we do is that we do correlation. What we do is that we can identify some other kind of attributes or conditions which has got a connection with this. That means what we have found is that almost 90% of the cases where you have a higher risk for heart disease, we found that the same person, if you look at the report, you can see that there is a higher level of, high risk for higher levels of homocysteine, which is a hormone. someone who is being, who is suffering from a heart attack and going to a hospital, they will check their homocysteine and it will be very high. So here you are actually getting an information well in advance that you have a higher risk for having a higher levels of homocysteine. Now the question is, okay, that is a good indicator. As a person who is having a higher risk for heart disease, the best thing what I can do is that I keep my homocysteine level intact. What can I do? I go to a normal lab and do a homocysteine test every 3 months and make sure that the level doesn't go up. Okay, the 15 is maintained. So that's the practice which I can do. Now comes one more question along with that. Okay, if I wanted to maintain the homocysteine level, not shooting up, what should I do? Again, you go back to a report, you can do another correlations, and we found that almost 80-85% of the people who have got a higher risk for homocysteine, they either have a low concentration of vitamin B6 or B9 or B12 genetically. In my case, it's B9. Okay, now what is the hack? The hack is very simple. Every 3 months, I do my homocysteine test. Whenever I feel that it's coming to near to something around 15, I go and take 2 weeks of folic acid, that is vitamin B9 supplements. Then I go test, I can see a significant difference in this. This is a hack. So that way, that is my job. Just a report will not help me. So it can give you a complete operating manual for you. And based on that, you take those steps. It's always better than every 3 months you do the test, go to a lab and do the test and take some folic acid if it is required and control it, rather than getting a heart attack and getting admitted in a hospital and having your life ruined and getting your angioplasty and all those kinds of stuff. So that's why I always say that wellness is always cheaper than illness.
Got it. Got it. I think that's very beautifully you explained through an example. Now, Sajeev, you're also doing something called Limoverse, which is building a tech-based venture. Can you explain in a very simple language, because it's got something to do with Meta, and most people have heard the word Meta, but they really don't understand. So if in very simple words, can you explain what does Limoverse do?
Oh, yeah. That's a very, very exciting project, what we are into. And again, that also happens as a flow. It is not that we went into it. When we started with V-Roots and the EPLIMO came in, and many dietitians and many fitness trainers started utilizing the EPLIMO services to provide personalized diet plans or personalized fitness plan for their clients. And interestingly, we found that, imagine a situation where you went to a fitness trainer who recommended you an EPLIMO process. And after the EPLIMO process, you are given a personalized fitness program. Now you got some great results and you go back to the same fitness trainer and you are asking him, hey brother, give me a diet plan also based on this. So he may not know how to prepare a diet plan based on an EPLIMO process. So he will have to check the office saying that, hey, who is the dietitian who is actually using the same process? Then it became a process, it became a complicated issue with us. Okay, so we thought, why not we bring all these people who are practitioners, doctors, dietitians, fitness trainers onto one platform where they all can exchange their services and all those kinds of stuff. So we thought of an aggregator model like an Uber model or a bookings.com kind of a model. That was the time our technology team came up with the idea that, hey, we are moving from Web 2. At that point of time, why do we wanted to invest on Web 2? So that I'm not a technologist, so I started learning about it. And the transition from Web 2 to Web 3, which is a decentralized protocol, which we built on blockchains. So that's where we found the huge possibilities, unbelievable possibilities on this Web 3 space. That's where we decided that, okay, we're going to build this platform on blockchain, which is more of a decentralized platform. And the major advantage being that, data is protected because no single server is actually in control. So when it comes to health, people are very conscious, very sensitive about the data. So that is one thing. Number two, through smart contracts, you can have so many possibilities, transparent possibilities, like the yoga practitioner who is sitting in India can have a contract already established with a dietitian in Italy, and a client comes and the yoga practitioner can recommend the dietitian from Italy to give a Mediterranean diet plan, and the kind of the remunerations can automatically move through this contract, smart contract using digital tokens. So we found unbelievable opportunity. And the more I got deeper into this, along with my son, who is a co-founder, Aditya, so we went deeper into this. We found that actually we stand a chance to build an economy, a wellness economy where we can bring in all the practitioners, because wellness is so fragmented. Even like our Ayush Mantralaya has been trying to bring all of them, the alternate therapists, together, but everybody has got a different mindset. But here, this is decentralized. You do your stuff, somebody else will be doing their stuff. So that's the way we started building it up. And actually, this is a global thing. This is not connected to India. So we are headquartered in Dubai. And our entire technology development is happening. And of course, backed by Indian technology group is here, but the entire operations are headed from Dubai. And what we're doing is that we are bringing all the wellness practitioners on one platform, users also on the same platform. All the services can be exchanged B2B, B2C. Plus, the most exciting part is that the users are going to be rewarded, or not going to be, already started. We have started rewarding the users for staying healthy. That means if you walk, jog, run, you are going to be paid, So you download the app, you go just for walk, jog, run, and you can start seeing some points coming to you. These points can be converted into digital tokens, which can be monetized. Or these tokens can be used for availing services inside the ecosystem. So this is the way the Limoverse is coming up. And we are also building a metaverse for the practitioners inside Limoverse, where they can set up their centers, they can offer their services. The practitioner, the doctor can come, doctor can create an avatar and be there, and you can be a user, can create an avatar and be there. You can have real life experiences. So a lot of things are happening in that space, which will be an extension of whatever we have been doing till now. And where, as I told you in the beginning, this may be the first ever model in the world where people are going to be really rewarded for every step they take towards staying healthy.
I am assuming that when it is coming to wellness and medical fraternity, we are addressing experts who are a little senior in age. How are you explaining this concept of Limoverse to an older generation?
Oh, I would rather say I should thank time for that. COVID made everyone to be on the screen. Who is not on the screen right now? Everyone, even the grandpas and grandmas of the world are also on the screen right now. They all know how to operate Zoom. They all know how to operate Google Meet. Now it's a good time. I'm sure that, had COVID not there, this must have happened after 10 years. This project would have happened after 10 years. Right now, it's not at all a problem. Now, I'm very easy, just like you are asking, how do we actually educate? Very simple. Let me share it with you right now. You will get educated. Now, we are talking in a platform on which we are communicating right now. And it's a two-dimensional platform where you are actually sitting there. And what I am seeing is that your room, and what you are seeing is my room. Okay. Imagine a situation, we're going to have the same interview where you are going to send me a link, a metaverse link, and in which I click that, and maybe that I'm wearing an AR glass or a XR glass or a VR, maybe XR glass, and I go into your room. When I look up, it's your roof. When I look on the sides, it's actual real time. And now we can even decide that, hey, you are actually sending me a message saying that, Harbinder, you are sending me a message saying that, hey, Sajeev, why not we have this interview on the 174th floor of Burj Khalifa? You can do that. So what you will do, you will go and take a slot in Burj Khalifa and send the link to me. And you are sitting in your home, I am sitting at my home. But at the same time, with the support of Metaverse, we are there. And we will be doing this thing, and we'll be looking, I'll be looking on this side. I can see the entire Dubai city out here. So it is now, you can visually see it right now when I explain it, because people have already come onto the screen. I'm seriously, because Metaverse wouldn't have happened, at least for the next 10 years, had COVID didn't happen. So I would rather say Metaverse is a child or an offspring of COVID.
Awesome. I totally agree with you. But Sajeev, how does this ecosystem work? I mean, I can understand you're building a platform where people from across the world can, both providers as well as seekers, can come onto that platform and exchange services for a value across the world.
That's right.
So how would this transform into revenue for Limoverse?
Yeah. It's mainly these are decentralized protocols. So in decentralized protocols, normally, we look at more of an asset value, asset creation rather than a P&L kind of a model, where if you look at it, this entire economy will be controlled by digital tokens. And it's an exclusive utility token for this economy. It's not like some people talk about crypto currencies, which can be used for everything kind of stuff. No, we are talking about, to establish and to transact inside this ecosystem, we are actually going to have a digital token. And these digital tokens are going to be in limited supply. Okay. Now what happens? As the community increases, as the practitioner sizes increases, as the user size increases, as the use cases increases, demand for the tokens go up. The reason why we are all suffering from inflation is because governments have got the right to print the notes. They keep on printing notes. That's why we suffer from inflation. Suppose we create an economy, a digital economy, where we are saying that this is limited supply. Automatically, as the demand goes up, as the services go up, naturally the price of the currency or the transaction tool also goes up. So that is one thing which we are seeing as a major thing, where the people who are going to hold these digital tokens are going to, at the end of the day, going to benefit a lot. One. Two, for the platform, the way we are going to generate revenue is that we're going to attach subscriptions for many of these things. Say, for instance, if you're getting into a walk, jog, run, and earn program, you have a subscription. Okay. But this subscription fee also we are converting into an asset. It is not like you paid a subscription fee and after that, you're not going to get anything in return. You must be getting the value. You must be getting that service in most of the cases. But how about for the subscription fee, I give you an asset. Okay. And this asset over a period of time can increase its value. And these assets are digital assets, which we call it as the NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So I'm making it so simple to make people understand that why we give. So if I say that you have to buy an NFT to get into this, people will say, what's NFT? Subscription is something which people know about. So we're converting that subscription into an NFT and we are giving it as an asset, which is a digital asset, an NFT. In our case, as it's walk, jog, run, what we are using is a sneaker. It's a sneaker NFT. So you go to our website or the app, the Limoverse app, which is there in the iOS and also Android, you can see those NFTs. So buy the NFTs, participate in these programs, start earning the tokens, Limo tokens, and you can monetize it. So the platform is benefited from these NFT or the subscription tokens.
Got it. Is it similar to a crypto crypto industry?
Cryptocurrency, when you say, or crypto coins, generally coins are the ones which are there, to support the layer one platforms, like, the Ethereum, the Polygon. So these are technology platforms. And to make anything happen in a blockchain, you need to have a digital token. Without that, it doesn't work. I have seen some economists making comments like, blockchain is fine. We are against crypto. It's a very stupid statement. You cannot run a blockchain without a digital token, because if you wanted to accomplish any smart contracts, you need to have a digital token running inside this. Now, the question is, do you want to trade that token or not is a different issue. Okay. So you need to have a digital token, but it is the option of the platform whether if this token we can see a future value for this token. That is the time we can actually send it for trading, like shares or like, depending on the performance of that platform. So I won't say that it's exactly utility tokens are similar to cryptocurrency. There is behaviorally, technologically, there may be a lot of similarity, but it behaves completely different.
Got it. Because my question actually came out because I see a lot of these cryptocurrencies and coins and tokens running into a problem with what the government, how government sees them.
Yeah, governments, I would rather say government stand, especially India government stand is very good in this. Because what even last budget, I still remember the Honorable Finance Minister made a statement that even the tokens which are there to support an underlying technology of a platform, we are okay with it. But it's just for crypto's sake. Some people say that, oh, tomorrow onwards, there is no need of any currency. You can buy rice, you can buy milk with this. That's overstatement. And that's not what is being visualized in the, I would rather say, in the Web3 space.
So Sajeev, we understand that data is the new oil. It's been spoken of. And at the end of the day, when you're focusing on blockchain, you're playing with data. Do you think or do you envision that any time in the future, Limoverse or any similar concept will get integrated with the insurance segment?
Here in our case, we have a system, especially when it comes to, we haven't started doing that, but still once we are going to integrate the EPLIMO also into the blockchain. We're going to give each user a private block. There is something called a private block for which he will be having the private key. So the advantage is that nobody else in the world has got an access to that data. Okay, so the beauty is now you and everyone in the world knows that the huge health data which is being gathered from hospitals and diagnostic centers being sold for billions of dollars. I think the health data storage industry itself is going to be $47 billion in 2025. So and the consumer like us, we don't get anything. The user never gets anything. Now, what we are visualizing in the future is that once you have your private block and where you can store your data, and we will invite the research companies to come onto this platform, and they can actually ask for the data they require, and the community can decide whether to give it or not. And the community will be rewarded directly. That's the way we are looking at it. May take some more time, but at the same time, I think blockchain, one of the major advantages of the blockchain technology is high level of privacy and high level of data security, which is a major advantage. Transparency, of course. You can actually track any of the transactions. Please.
Yeah. So I'm saying we've understood the technology, we've understood what Limoverse does, but let's come to you. What do you as a person do about your own well-being?
I do biohacking. So yeah, in fact, I consider my body as a gift from the God. And I treat it well. I don't misuse it. When I see people misusing their body by smoking and excessive alcohol and all those kinds of things, I always wonder, whether they have made it or not. How can you can misuse something which you haven't created? So I consider myself so blessed to have my body, and I treat it properly. And that's it. I would rather say there are not much of secrets. That's the way you have to look at it. And keeping your body, yes, of course, many people talk about keeping your mind intact and good, and yes, that is required. At the same time, you have to have your body. You have to mind your body also. So and basic things, what you do, are you giving enough sleep to your body? Because it requires about 5 to 6 hours of relaxation. That is the time your body, because all day you have been working hard and you have been going around, doing so many things, and it needs a lot of repair. The repairs happen only when you sleep, and proper sleep. It's not like, I slept for about 1 hour in the afternoon, so it's okay. No, you need to have the sleep during the night, because that is the way our circadian rhythm works. So you give proper sleep, and how do you prepare for sleep? Some people actually don't make your body struggle to sleep. A few examples: some people even they smoke even before they're going to bed. Some people take coffee before they're going to bed. Okay. So this is making your brain and the body work harder to get sleep. Now, instead of that, if you have taken your dinner at least 2 hours prior to your sleep, and after that you haven't taken any other food, no desserts, you are actually helping your body to get a good sleep. Okay. And 5 to 6 hours of good sleep, and how you start your day, and being grateful for all the things what you have got in your life. I think those are some simple things what anybody can practice.
Got it. So Sajeev, let me come to the last question. Before I let you go, I'm very keen to know that what does the future of WeRoots and Limoverse look like? What is your vision for the next 5 and 10 years for both these organizations, both these dreams that you're building?
I would rather say that our mission to empower people to take charge of their health and well-being, that's what we are focused on. And we want to reach out in the next 3 years. We wanted to reach out to at least 1 million people to transform their lives. And transform their lives means they take charge of their own health and well-being, so that they can live a highly energetic, productive, contributing life. So that's what we are looking at. And all other products, technology, services, all those are complementing to this mission. And we are using technology to the fullest. Be it genomics, be it AI, be it blockchain, we are there. So we can say that we are doing a highly futuristic business model right now. Maybe after 3 years could be common, but right now, to make people understand about it, is it, that's the kind of questions most of the time we get it. But that's an exciting journey. Being a pioneer is a challenge, but it's exciting, but at the same time, it's a challenge. So right now we are pioneer in most of the things what we do. And in 3 years down the line, also when we talk, we wanted to be the leader in those spaces. That is what we wanted to do.
Lovely, Sajeev. I am, my key takeaways from our conversation today are that, one, take care of your body. Somebody told me very beautifully that you buy a new car and you take care of it because it's a prized possession. So this is the most prized possession which you are blessed with by the universe, by the God. So I think we take care of it, like you have said, we would be living a much healthier, better life. And second is, we need to find hacks, and very simple hacks that can help us live energetic and, like you said, productive life ahead. So these are my key takeaways from our discussion. And second is, I'm really impressed with what Limoverse and WeRoots is doing, of how it is using the technology of today, which is AI, blockchain, and trying to bring in the basics of well-being that we have always seemingly known in the past, and making it useful today. I really appreciate your time. This conversation was very, very interesting. I'm glad we did that. Thank you so much for joining us at BW Healthcare and BW Wellbeing, Sajeev. It's a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you, Harbinder. It has been definitely a pleasure, and I really appreciate the kind of initiatives that BW has got towards well-being and the healthcare, because I think when I used to do my management course, that was the time I used to read BW, and I never ever imagined that BW would come into something like well-being, or health. We could have thought of some other magazines coming into it, but it's a great initiative, and I strongly believe that we have to look at that way, because if the corporate world, the executives, the businessmen, entrepreneurs, if they start taking care of their own health and well-being, and if they start performing at peak levels, the country can really progress. So you guys are into the right place and the right move. And I really thank you for the time, or thank you for the opportunity to share some of the thoughts, whatever I'm practicing right now. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.